The Crusades, a series of religious wars sanctioned by the Latin Church in the medieval period, remain a complex and controversial topic, often debated as either genuine expressions of piety and attempts to reclaim holy lands, or more cynically, as power struggles disguised by religious fervor. From the First Crusade, 1096-1099, to the last major effort, the Ninth Crusade, 1272, these conflicts spanned centuries, impacting Europe, the Middle East, and the Mediterranean world in profound and lasting ways. To understand the motivations behind these expeditions, one must delve into the multifaceted context of 11th century Europe, a period characterized by religious zeal, political fragmentation, and social unrest. The papacy, under figures like Pope Urban II, sought to assert its authority over both secular rulers and the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the concept of a holy war provided a powerful tool for unifying Christendom under its leadership. The Cluniac Reforms, a movement within the Benedictine order, emphasized piety, ritual, and the importance of fighting for the faith, creating a fervent religious atmosphere ripe for mobilization. The Seljuk Turks' rise to power in the 11th century, culminating in their victory at the Battle of Manzikert in 1071, posed a significant threat to the Byzantine Empire and disrupted pilgrimage routes to the Holy Land, prompting appeals for Western assistance. The deteriorating condition of the Eastern Roman Byzantine Empire, facing internal strife and external pressures from the Normans and Turks, led Emperor Alexios I Komnenos to request military aid from the West, specifically mercenaries, unknowingly setting the stage for the First Crusade. Pope Urban II's speech at the Council of Clermont in 1095 is often cited as the catalyst for the First Crusade. Though its exact wording remains debated, it undoubtedly appealed to the religious sensibilities of the assembled crowd, promising spiritual rewards for those who participated in the liberation of the Holy Land. The promise of absolution of sins, plenary indulgence, and eternal salvation proved incredibly appealing to a warrior class steeped in violence and seeking spiritual redemption, but also to commoners yearning for a better life. However, the motives weren't solely religious. Land-hungry nobles saw the Crusades as an opportunity to acquire new territories and establish feudal lordships in the East, while merchants anticipated lucrative trade opportunities. The First Crusade, characterized by both zealous faith and brutal violence, resulted in the capture of Jerusalem in 1099, followed by the establishment of 4 Crusader states: the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Tripoli, the Principality of Antioch, and the County of Edessa. The sack of Jerusalem was marked by horrific atrocities against the Muslim and Jewish populations, revealing the darker side of Crusader zeal and challenging the narrative of a purely religious undertaking. The establishment of these Crusader states, while initially successful, proved precarious, facing constant threats from neighboring Muslim powers and internal divisions among the Crusaders themselves. The Second Crusade, 1047 to 1049, launched in response to the fall of Edessa in 1144, was a dismal failure plagued by logistical problems, internal conflicts, and ultimately failing to recapture any significant territories. The leadership of Louis VII of France and Conrad III of Germany proved ineffective, highlighting the limitations of centralized command and the difficulties of coordinating a large-scale expedition across vast distances. The Third Crusade, 1089 to 1092, sparked by the recapture of Jerusalem by Saladin in 1187, was led by some of Europe's most powerful monarchs. Richard I of England, Philip II of France, and Frederick I Barbarossa. Richard's military prowess and determination led to significant victories against Saladin, but he failed to recapture Jerusalem, ultimately securing a truce that allowed Christian pilgrims access to the city. Saladin, a formidable military leader and a symbol of Muslim unity, emerged as a key figure in the resistance against the Crusader states, earning respect even from his enemies. The Fourth Crusade, 1202-1204, represents a particularly shameful episode in Crusader history, as it was diverted from its original goal of liberating Egypt and instead resulted in the sack of Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Driven by Venetian interests and internal power struggles, the Crusaders attacked and plundered Constantinople, inflicting irreparable damage on the Byzantine Empire and deepening the schism between the Eastern and Western churches. The sack of Constantinople was motivated by a combination of economic greed, political rivalry, and religious tensions, demonstrating the extent to which the Crusades could be exploited for personal gain. Children's Crusade, 1212, represents a tragic and largely mythical event, as thousands of children attempted to travel to the Holy Land to convert Muslims peacefully, but were largely unsuccessful and many perished along the way. The Fifth Crusade, 1217-1221, and Sixth Crusade, 1228-1229, achieved limited success, failing to make significant gains against the Muslim powers in the Levant. The Seventh Crusade, 1248-1254, led by Louis IX of France, initially achieved some success in Egypt, but ultimately failed due to logistical problems and internal conflicts, resulting in Louis Saigne's capture and subsequent death. The Eighth Crusade, 1270, led by Louis IX, was launched against Tunisia, but was quickly abandoned due to illness and Louis' death shortly thereafter. The Ninth Crusade, 1272, led by Edward de Farache of England, achieved limited success, securing a truce with the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt, marking the last major effort to regain control of the Holy Land. The fall of Aaron, 1291, marked the final end of the Crusader states in the Levant, signaling the end of the crusading era in the Holy Land. The Crusades had a profound impact on Europe, stimulating trade, fostering cultural exchange, and contributing to the development of centralized monarchies. The establishment of new trade routes facilitated the flow of goods and ideas between Europe and the East, leading to increased economic prosperity and cultural enrichment. However, the Crusades also contributed to increased religious intolerance, persecution of minorities, and a legacy of hostility between Christians and Muslims. The legacy of the Crusades continues to shape relations between the West and the Middle East today, serving as a reminder of the complexities of religious conflict and the enduring power of historical grievances. The concept of holy war has continued to resonate throughout history, inspiring religious conflicts and shaping political ideologies. In conclusion, the Crusades were a multifaceted phenomenon driven by a complex interplay of religious zeal, political ambition, economic greed, and social unrest. While religious motivations undoubtedly played a significant role, it is crucial to recognize the extent to which the Crusades were also shaped by secular interests and personal ambitions. To portray the Crusades solely as holy wars is to ignore the darker aspects of these conflicts, including the brutality, violence, and exploitation that characterized many of these expeditions. Therefore, a nuanced understanding of the Crusades requires a critical examination of the historical context, acknowledging the complex interplay of motivations and the lasting consequences of these conflicts.